What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. With Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman. Great weekend for KU Athletics. We needed
Yes.
this. It was kind of a palate cleanse, if
Did
you
you come up
will,
with that?
after following a rough weekend last time out. But no, we're going to tell you all about the success of KU this past weekend. Here in this opening segment, we're talking KU basketball. The Hawks over Princeton at Fog Allen Fieldhouse on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. It's always a special scene. You get the sunshine inside the Allen Fieldhouse. I remember reading one of those Jason King books, Beyond the Fog, Beyond the Streak. I've referenced him a ton. But he was interviewing one of the former KU basketball players, and he said there was nothing better than a Saturday afternoon in Allen Fieldhouse. Somebody would come in, we would whoop their you-know-what, and then go out and enjoy themselves. So who knows what the guys did post-game, but it was a win over Princeton that KU needed to get, a 2-0 week. They're now 3-1 this season. So we'll talk about that here in the opening segment. And next segment, we're going to be joined by a very special guest.
That's right. Old friend alert. Nicholas J. Springer.
As in, like, former friend or just
no.
okay.
A friend that we've known for a while.
I see.
He was my first friend in KU Media.
I would say
You were
I would say acquaintance.
So I met him.
I don't consider the two of you friends. I consider
friends with Nick. I went out with him a couple Saturdays ago.
Yeah,
we just grabbed lunch with him.
You guys are great acquaintances for sure.
Oh, I love Nick.
Coworkers.
Yes.
At times.
Former coworkers.
Yes.
Former coworkers, good friend, old friend.
Anyway, Nick Springer is tapping in for his coworker and very good friend, Kevin Flaherty from the Kansas City Sports Network. Those two do great work covering all things KU on their Pay Heed podcast. So Nick Springer will sit right over there on that couch.
That's right.
And we will grill him about all things KU. After Nick, we're going to hear from Trey White and Flory Bidunga postgame, plus KU soccer news. They're on to the round of 32 in the NCAA tournament. We'll tell you what happened Friday night over at Rock Chalk Park, closing out the Rock Chalk Park portion of the 2025 KU soccer season. Then we'll talk a little KU volleyball before our Case of the Mondays segment. Dan,
that's right.
I know that we have a couple people over on One Arrowhead Way that are experiencing a Case of the Mondays, but who else? Give us a little teaser on our Case of the Mondays segment.
Oh, man, we got a lot. I got GameStop on here. I got Grace College, if you've ever heard of them. Also, a Division III Scranton. They're not having a Case of the Mondays, but Pitt women's basketball is having a Case of the Mondays. Scranton, the Electric City.
Life moves a little slower in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Did you know that Scranton, Kansas is one of the towns that went to my high school?
One of the towns that went to, I did not know that.
So Santa Fe Trail is a consolidation of 3 different towns. It's Carbondale, Scranton, and Overbrook. One of my best friends, his name's Brian. He's actually from Scranton. And we all thought it was so crazy that The Office, became a show. And we're like, Scranton.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
There's
gosh,
a lot of Scrantons out there.
Scranton. And then all of a sudden, we're like, oh, Scranton. This is Scranton, Kansas. Shout out, man. I spent a lot of time there.
Well, all the Scrantons in the world, the one in Lackawanna County holds a special place in our heart.
Of course,
everybody knows why.
Yeah.
After our Case of the Mondays segment, we'll talk KU women's basketball. They improved to 4-0 with a rather important victory, not one you want to lose, and they didn't, as KU played well in knocking off misery at T-Mobile. We'll hear from the two-time national champion Bill Self following that, and then we're going to close out the show with the only bad news of the weekend. I was over at my parents' place in Overland Park watching this one, and Chiefs, going into this game, we absolutely have to win this game.
How's Dan Kellerman watch games? Is he a fiery guy?
He is he's relatively calm. Sure. He'll have a few things to shout at the TV. Like he was upset with the amount of laundry that was thrown on TV.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
But
a lot of yellow on the TV screen.
But yeah, no, he's like a facepalm guy. But the best part about my dad, or watching any sort of game with my dad, baseball, basketball, football, whatever, for a fact, if it's a commercial, he is going to stand up to do something. Like every single time. He'll stand up, he'll get a drink of water, then he'll stand up, he'll go to the bathroom, then he'll stand up and he'll piddle around with something. There is no remaining in your seat at a commercial if you're Dan Kellerman.
Of course, right. You got things to do. You are a chip off the old block. You cannot sit still. Anytime we have a commercial break on this show,
that is
Sean
true.
Leaves the building.
That is true. No doubt. But I can survive Red Zone. a little bit better. I don't know
Yeah,
if my
sure.
dad could handle red zone. There's not enough
Yeah.
opportunities to get up and load the
I
dishwasher.
get it. It's commercial-free football.
Right.
Well, commercial-free football.
Hey,
Well,
you
all
know
right,
what?
well, that's
It's
fine.
been all right. People freaked out a little bit too much about that.
Sure,
I think
of
we were
course.
good. Hey, let's talk KU Princeton 76-57. Hawks, Dan, did what they needed to this week and on Fieldhouse. It wasn't the most exciting week in the history of Kansas men's basketball from a scheduling standpoint, as it was Corpus Christi and then Princeton. You had to get 2 wins. KU did that. And a lot of good things to talk about. And let's start with those from this 19-point win. KU gets a monster career performance from Flory Bidunga,
Yes.
25 and 10. And he also had 3 blocks. You know you're going to get the rim protection. This is all in just 27 minutes as well for Flory. But I saw some things from Flory that I think I always knew he had in his bag, but we've never seen in terms of some unbelievable athletic moves, driving baseline, the spin moves, the dunks, the finishing through contact. Flory was a man. He's 40.
He is 40. I like look at you with the little
like
number
that?
play there. Yeah, no, I Flory did exactly what we needed him to do, right? I mean, this is what we've been pleading for him to do all year long. And I would even say, he would show some flashes of some different things where you go like, oh, I've never seen that from Flory. But up until this point, before the Princeton game, I guess predictable really is maybe the only word I could describe in terms of his post game moves, his post presence, that those kind of things. And then you saw him, like you said, he was doing different spins. He was getting to the basket in different ways, which I thought was really important. So I mean, Flory played big man basketball, and I think that's something that we haven't seen from Flory a lot, right? You see him get pushed around quite a bit in different games beforehand, and yeah, he had an excellent game against Green Bay, and I think something just flipped. There was a switch that might have been flipped inside of Flory, so it was great to see him put down 25 points, and again, 10 for 11 from the field is absolutely incredible. And granted, they were all from underneath the basket pretty much, but still 10 for
No
11.
one was upset when Udoka Azubuike did that,
Bingo,
right?
exactly, right? I mean, you look at Udoka Azubuike, you go, okay, well, yeah, that guy doesn't have any range, but he doesn't miss from down low, and neither does Flory Bidunga, especially in this game. I thought he played excellent. He looked more confident than I've seen him in quite a few games. The rim protection was there, the rebounding was there. Every facet of the game, I thought Flory Bidunga absolutely won against Princeton. Now, again, you talk about maybe a boring slate just of this week, right? With Corpus Christi and Princeton, right? You get Duke coming up, and they got the Boozer brothers, right? They got some big guys down low. They have some challenges for Flory, so hopefully he's able to maintain this momentum that he has coming off of this game and bring it to New York. I think he will.
So KU wins by 19.
Yeah.
And this was a 1-point game. 44 to
It
43.
was.
KU went on a long run. They end up getting separation at 73 to 51. Ultimately pull away. And Bill Self was really not happy at the podium post game. He said he's not in the highest of spirits. But one other positive I wanted to highlight, and this isn't just because he had the second most points in the game, but I loved what I saw from Trey White.
Yeah.
I brought this up in the post game locker room show, but 18 points and 8 rebounds. He also had a steal. He only had 4 field goals, but he was 10 of 13 from the free throw line. And we saw some things, Dan, that I think people haven't talked about enough when they break down this roster and some of the positives. Kansas, we know, has missed 3-point shooting these past couple years. But you and I last week said that's not the only thing that they've missed. What they've really missed the past couple of years is having a guy who can draw contact and get to the free throw line. You go back the 22-23 season, Kansas is a 1 seed. Well, you had both of that. You had Grady Dick, one of the best shooters from a single season standpoint in KU history. And you had, for most of that season, Kevin McCullough.
Yes.
McCullough, a guy who can absolutely get to the rim, draw contact. Was he the smoothest, best looking basketball player of all time? Probably not, but he could draw contact and knew how to manipulate his body in that way. And then obviously before McCullough, and I may have messed up that year because McCullough was here 23-24.
Yeah.
The 22-23 was Dick, McCullough, and Jalen Wilson.
Yeah.
And Jalen Wilson is maybe the best we've had at doing that.
Absolutely.
Particularly when he had to carry the team. Bill Self has talked about how Jalen Wilson is the best. He said this at least 2 years ago, and I can't imagine it's changed now. the best we've had in transition,
Mhm.
period. Not
Yeah.
just for a big, not just for a four-man, and he also is
Ever.
so good at drawing contact. No, Jalen Wilson didn't dunk the ball. He didn't have that. He doesn't have the unbelievable bounce or anything, but he could draw contact. The last 2 years, Kansas, whether it was the bigs like Hunter Dickinson or some of the guards, whether it's, Harris or Griffin or whoever that was, they didn't really have that in their game. Trey White, a guy that we often don't talk about because he's not coming in supposed to be a knockdown shooter. He's not coming in with maybe the offensive ceiling that somebody like Cole Rosario has, and he's not going to be dependent on as highly as Darren Peterson, Flory Bidunga, but this is a vital element. There were a couple times where Princeton went on a little bit of a run and had some momentum, and Trey White drew contact and got to the rim, ends up shooting 13 free throws, and that's just so big. KU hasn't had that, so wanted to shout him out as well. He drew 6 fouls in this game.
Yeah, I think that like you said, it's not talked about enough, right? And you tend to not really think about getting to the free throw line as a skill. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh,
Yeah,
like
right.
what's there that's skilled about that? But at the same time, you look back the last 2 years, Kansas was not able to do that, and I think there's a couple of different reasons why it's so important. Number one, you look at some of the other guys who weren't able to get to the free throw line, like Zeke Mayo, which Zeke Mayo was a very good shooter, and I loved his time here. But at the same time, every time he put the ball down, his first step I don't think was quick enough, right? I think that whenever he did put the ball on the ground, he was heavily guarded, and he had to pick it up and then toss it back out. Same with Rylan Griffin, right? Same with a number of different players. Trey White has a quick first step. He can get past a guy's fighting back. He winds up getting fouled. So I think that there is something to be said about that, and I think a lot of it has to do with Trey White's quick first step. I think him and Flory are similar in that aspect of sort of short range acceleration. I think they're both very, very good at, and that puts guys on their heels, and that's when guys make mistakes, and that's when guys foul. Right. Also, that's 10 free points right there that Trey White managed to get. Right. Kansas, this game would have been substantially closer, right? I mean, you talked about it was 44-43. This game was way too
Yeah,
close.
Princeton better than Corpus Christi and Green Bay, but still, should be a game that Kansas runs away with. And it
Of
took a
course.
while to do that. But again, yeah, like you said, the 10 points, the ability to get to the free throw line, and just how often the last couple of years, because Kansas, we don't like talking about it, but got blown out
Yeah. Well, and
way too
it
often
stops
times the last
momentum
couple of years.
too.
It stops momentum. That's the number one thing. Guys can collect themselves. You can, take a deep breath and reset in the half court rather than what happened in Provo last year, which is something that we never want
No.
to relive. So those are some positives. Obviously there are some negatives, and we could talk about some of the on-court negatives, but let's start with the fact that Darren Peterson didn't play. We talked about this on Friday. DP, we don't know the status. Bill Self saying post game that we're not going to have him for the immediate future is how he phrased it. Well,
Mhm.
how immediate is he talking? KU has Duke tomorrow night, of course, 8 o'clock at Madison Square Garden. Then they don't play until Monday. So certainly you don't want DP to not play against Duke, right? But if maybe another week of him sitting is helpful to where Kansas, when they play 3 games in 3 days, DP is closer to being 100%. It's just a tricky spot to be, but we didn't get to see him on Saturday.
Yeah, I think, and you and I kind of talked a little bit about this off air about how he needs to be 100% for the players era because that's literally money in your pocket, right? This is kind of the first little experiment that we've seen of actual pay for play and pay for success in the players era, right? So, and those 3 games, or at least the 2 games that we know that we're going to be playing against Notre Dame in Syracuse, they're not exactly, the best of talent that we're going to be facing. Duke, this is a huge game. It's on a national, platform. It's in New York. It's you got potential, not even potential. I mean, for sure, NBA caliber players playing against each other with the Boozer brothers, with Dame Sarr, with Darren Peterson, Flory Bidunga. Right, it is a powerhouse matchup. So you want DP out there, but at the same time, you still want him healthy for the Players era, and you need Kansas to win that Players era tournament. Obviously, without DP, it sucks. Again, we knew this kind of going into the game. At least they were upfront about it. But and I hate to keep on coming back to the silver lining of at least, these guys are figuring out how to play without Darren Peterson, and no, most notably with Trey White and Flory Bidunga. I thought Melvin Council had an okay game. Jaden Dawson probably played a better game than we anticipated, but there are some other guys who weren't able to step up, right? So I feel like we're starting to kind of see what this rotation is going to look like with and without Darren Peterson, right? Marco Jackson did not have a good game. Bryson Tiller didn't have a good game either, but you saw other guys be able to step up like Trey White. So yes, obviously it sucks. And, Coach Self said afterwards, which actually, like you said, we're going to hear from Coach Self a little bit later in the show. He's out for the immediate future. It stinks. At the same time, at the end of the day, you need him healthy for conference play.
You do. And as much as we would hate being 3-2 with losses already to Duke and North Carolina, that's not the long-term goal. And I get it. We all want to see him. He's an all-world athlete, all-world basketball player, and you don't want to lose, right? We're sick of it. We're sick of losing.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who can give Kansas a lot of wins this year, but just have to see how the cookie crumbles. And we won't hear from head coach Bill Self before half an hour before the game on the Jayhawk Sports Network. We'll have a pregame conversation with Brian Haney regarding the status of DP as the guys are traveling out today. But one more DP thing?
No, not one more DP thing. I thought I just wanted to mention another negative, which I'm sure that you were going to bring up: 3-point shooting.
3-point shooting, yes, and in general, the guards for KU. White's kind of a hybrid guy. Cole Rosario hit 2 of 3 threes. That was great. He wasn't on the court very much because he had foul trouble, so he had 23. But yeah, if he's going to hit 2 of 3, you're going to take that. Melvin Council and Elmarco Jackson. Melvin Council has not shot well from the field. In fact, he's missed all 9 of his threes so far this season. You got to get that closer to 30%, right? I know that he's beaten himself up a little bit. We haven't seen the best version of himself. He's going to be vital to KU. And like a lot of these guys, they're going to be better players when Darren Peterson is out there, right?
Sure.
I mean, you look, and it's funny because you bring up Zeke Mayo, and this isn't making a comparison. It's just, it clicked in my head because we say this so often. You put Zeke Mayo on so many other stronger KU teams, that dude is a weapon because he's not asked to get to the free throw line. He's asked to be more of a Grady Dick type 3-point shooter because that's what Zeke Mayo did best. Melvin Council is asked to do a little bit more offensively when Darren Peterson is not out there. And I think that the offense will come certainly more when DP is back, but he's struggled a bit. And then Elmarco Jackson is just laboring right now, Dan. 1 of 7, 0 of 4 from 3. He did have a block and a steal, and he can contribute some things. His lone bucket was on an alley-oop in transition from Council, but those are 2 guys in whatever area they're going to contribute for Kansas need to contribute, especially if Darren's not out there, because they're going to need more answers offensively.
Yeah, I think when you look at Melvin Council and what was expected of him coming in, I never thought that he was going to be a 3-point weapon, right? That's why you brought in Cole Rosario and Jaden Dawson in theory, right? And those guys need to hit, right? And Cole Rosario still hit 2 of 3, which is 66%, which is good. The volume needs to be higher, and like you said, he was in foul trouble, so there were some critical moments in that game where he might have been sitting out, but Jaden Dawson needs to get better at his 3-point shooting, and Melvin Council certainly does, right? You can't be 0%, right? We know he's not a sharpshooter kind of guy. You cannot be 0.
It's interesting with Dawson because we haven't seen a lot of him, and I have a feeling from everything we've heard that he's not going to give you as much defensively as somebody like Elmarco Jackson. But if Jackson continues to struggle so much, then how much are you willing to forfeit on the defensive end for potentially getting an offensive burst from Dawson? Dawson hasn't been great when he's been out there from a percentage standpoint, but just kind of curious to see how that'll go. And yeah, Duke and Kansas tomorrow at 8:00, following Michigan State, Kentucky, which is at 5:30. We'll see the status of Darren Peterson and the play moving forward. But KU, by the way, they move up a spot in the AP Top 25 as of this morning. They are now number 24 in the country. Duke actually down a spot. They're number 5. Look at the Big 12. Houston, who won by 1 against Auburn yesterday, they are number 2 right now as Purdue jumps them.
See Bruce Pearl yelling in the stands.
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, he goes to the game still. Shout out to Bruce Pearl.
Good for him. Good for him. And then Arizona's up to number 4 in the country. I mean, you look at
Makes
this,
sense,
the top 5 right now, Dan, Houston 2, UConn 3, Arizona 4, Duke 5. KU's playing all of them
Yes.
this year. So, there's that. But BYU checks in at number 9. They lost to UConn on Saturday night. Texas Tech is at 15. Iowa State is at 16. And like I said, our Hawks are at 24. If you want to stay in the AP top 25, you're probably going to have to beat Duke. That's just how it is. You don't drop a lot for losing the number 5 team in the country, but you will likely drop if Kansas falls at MSG. Hopefully that's not the case because the guys could really go for a big win. They've had Duke's number a little bit recently.
True.
So we'll have to wait and see. I don't think Duke has as strong of a roster as they had last year, which would be hard to duplicate when they had 3 lottery picks. But we'll have a big breakdown on them. We're going to be joined by Nick Springer next segment to talk a little Duke, to talk a little KU football as well. And of course, tomorrow on Rock Talk Sports, we'll do a deeper dive on the number 5 ranked Blue Devils. Nick Springer after this. You're watching Rock Chalk Sports on KansasNation.com and listening to ESPN Kansas City. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Every Monday on the show, we're joined by Kevin Flaherty, Kansas City Sports Network. Kevin, thanks for coming in. You look well today.
How's different?
How is everything going? Is it a makeup thing? What's different?
Yeah, it's I don't have a good Kevin Flaherty impression, but glad to be here.
You know who
Looking
does
forward to it.
great impressions of Steve Kincaid? I've told you this before.
Oh, is that true?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, he's
I thought he
we
was.
gotta-
I thought he was mute. I thought
we
he
should
just,
have
like,
him
didn't
on.
talk.
We should have him on for a segment just to do impressions. It's hilarious.
I would love that.
Yeah, I'm
Anyway,
guessing you guys flipped through the Rolodex, had about 20 people say no, and what's some clown that we can get on to just spew some BS? Oh,
Hey,
okay, this guy.
The best ability is availability, and Nick Springer always available.
Clearly,
Nick,
yeah.
Nick Springer joins the
pretty
show
low
from
bar.
the Kansas City Sports Network. He you probably recognize from the Pay He podcast with Kevin Flaherty,
Yeah.
and he's tapping out Kevin today. Nick, appreciate you making the time for us again here at our new Kansas Nation studios. A lot to get through. Want to squeeze in some Chiefs questions. Not very many
I
of
don't
them
want to talk about the
at
Chiefs.
the end. Yeah,
Neither do
I don't
we.
understand. I don't understand, man. It's frustrating. But
Yeah.
KU basketball, hey. Corpus Christi and Princeton teams are supposed to beat. Didn't have Darren Peterson. First of all, your concern level with DP moving forward, because we understand that this is probably a top 25 team without Darren Peterson. But if Kansas wants to be a top 10 team, you got to have the guy on the court, and we haven't seen him the last couple games.
Yeah, and I don't know if he'll play against Duke. It seems like it's very much up in the air, so that changes things obviously for KU against Duke. But my take has always been I don't, and maybe this is just me being spoiled from watching Kansas for so long, but I don't really care if KU loses 3 or 4 games in November and early December. I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't really care because this is a team that I thought going into this season, setting aside the Darren Peterson thing, it was probably going to take them a little bit of time to fully, come together and figure out what kind of team they are heading, so as long as they're ready for conference play. So thinking it and from that perspective, okay, fine. The Darren Peterson situation, whatever. I don't really buy into this whole idea of well, Darren Peterson needs to play to gel with his teammate. No, he's the best player in the country. He doesn't. I'm confident that he'll just go in and do his thing whenever he's ready. Right now, the injury is obviously not great, and whatever it is, it's the I kind of liken this, and Kevin actually I talked to him about this morning. Actually, funny enough, he likened it to with when Jalen Daniels was dealing with his back injury. For KU football, right? What are the two most frustrating injuries or fickle injuries to deal with?
Yeah.
Backs and hamstrings.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's very possible that with Darren Peterson, it could be as simple as, hey, on Monday morning, he's fine. By Monday afternoon, it's tight. By Tuesday morning, he can't play. By Wednesday morning, he's fine again. It could be literally just one of the situations where it's hard to say. And obviously that's something where you don't want him to re-aggravate it and then say, okay, well, now we have to put him on the shelf for 6 weeks or something like that, right? And so it's obviously frustrating from the fan perspective. I get it, right? He is the presumptive number 1 overall pick. You only get a certain number of games to watch him play in a Jayhawk uniform. You want to maximize that, but then it's just a tough conversation to have. And so heading into Duke, if he doesn't play, I think for Kansas it comes down to, all right, if he's not going to play, then you just go and make it a fight in a phone booth. Just muddy it up, make it an ugly, game. Just play and make it into a dogfight. I think that's how you win without him, because otherwise Duke is very, very good. They have maybe one of the best starting 5s in the entire country. and they've been very explosive offensively so far this season. Granted, against some weaker competition, but just like Kansas, they went and played an exhibition game on the road and won against Tennessee. They beat Texas. It was a pretty close game, I think, for the most part, but then they pulled away at the end. So it's a test for Duke too. Don't get me wrong, but for Kansas, especially if Darren Peterson's not playing, I think you just have to find a way to make it just the ugliest game possible, and hope that you can find a way to where it's like, okay, it's a 5-point game with like 4 minutes left, and can you just find a way to get a couple possessions and maybe just steal a win?
We haven't had you on since the start of basketball season. So just curious, now that you've seen the guys out there a little bit, what do you like from a roster standpoint? What do you not like? Because obviously it's a new group of guys, and
Yeah.
this is a Kansas team that I think we all expect to be playing their best ball in March, but it might be a process before that.
Yeah, I think the annoying thing about it is that I think this team fits really well together when Darren Peterson's playing.
Yeah.
When he's not playing, there is a Darren Peterson-sized hole on the roster. Wow, shocking, I know, right? But I really like what I've seen from Bryson Tiller. Obviously, I think he's been the biggest surprise, and a surprise maybe is not the right word, because if anybody really has gone back and listened to Bill Self talk about Bryson Tiller going back to last year, he has consistently said that he thinks Bryson Tiller is a pro. Even going back to like when the time
It's
he
like
first
people
joined the team.
chose not to hear that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And so now when he's playing well, it's like, oh, what a surprise. I doubt Bill Self is surprised. This is
Yeah.
clearly what he expected to happen. So he's been great, obviously, and I'm excited to watch him play against Duke as well, which is cool. Flory, coming off a really strong game against Princeton, kind of showed what he can do, and that's exciting to see, right? Because I think when Kansas fought to get him back out of the portal away from potentially Auburn, that was kind of what they were hoping to envision, right? And so, and especially if Darren Peterson's not playing, Flory becomes, hey, you may need to go out and get 20 and 8, right? Versus, okay, on any given night, if you're just getting 16 or 15 and 6, it's probably good enough. But I've liked what I've seen from Flory so far. I thought he also showcased some stuff against Princeton that we didn't see from him in his freshman season, which when you're talking about taking that leap of growth, there it is. There's an example of it, what he did against Princeton. Now, on the flip side, Duke obviously is a much more bigger, stronger team, and so can Flory replicate that or build off of that on Tuesday against Duke will be something I'll be keeping an eye on. I think Melvin Council is a solid piece. I like what I've seen from him. I think he's just going to be one of those guys where he can do the other things right, and then there'll be a couple games where he's going to be able to be efficient offensively, and there's going to be some games where he's not going to be efficient offensively. I just think that's kind of what he is at this point. So we'll see. I still continue to have faith that Cole Rosario is going to heat up and figure it out. I like what I've seen from Trey White. Al Marco Jackson is continues to be the biggest enigma for me, because I want to believe in him so bad, and I want to see him unlock his potential, but unfortunately for him, it just doesn't quite seem like it still seems like he just can't quite get over the hump, whatever that may be. Hopefully as he plays more after the injury from last year, maybe that'll help him a little bit, but especially if Darren Peterson does end up having to miss, a few extra games here or there, whatever, you need a Marco Jackson then to step up. And I'm a little nervous with what I've seen from that so far. But yeah, overall, I think this is a team that with Darren Peterson fully healthy has a chance to beat anybody, right? And that my opinion hasn't changed since I thought that before the season, and I still think that now. And so we'll see how things progress through the non-conference. Like again, just to kind of circle back to what I said at the beginning, I don't really care about the wins and losses right now. I care more about, hey, are you progressing as a team? Are guys looking like they're getting better, right? Like if you go out and you lose to Duke, but maybe it's a close game, and Flory again looks really, really good after building off of Princeton, and maybe you see a little bit more from Melvin Council, you see a little bit more from Culver. Like if those things happen, even if it's in a loss, I can stomach that. I'm okay with that, right? Especially if Darren Peterson doesn't play. If it's a close game without Darren
Yeah.
Peterson, then you feel probably a lot better,
Yeah.
potentially. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Now, the further along we get in non-conference play, and if there continues to be issues or XYZ, I am going to become increasingly nervous, because you kind of need to hit the ground running in conference play, I think. Now, they actually get a pretty easy start to conference play. They play TCU and UCF, I think, in the first two conference games.
Yeah,
So,
that
like,
sounds right.
pretty good. But then I think they have BYU pretty quickly after that, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head.
BYU's on the 31st of
Yeah.
January. Yeah. So
Yeah, okay, yeah,
fifth
yeah,
or
yeah.
sixth game. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you'll get into it. Maybe it's Iowa State. I think they have somebody
Yeah.
as their
Iowa State's
third.
early up.
Is that their third conference game?
I believe so, and I
Um,
think that's up at their
It's
place.
at Ames. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it goes TCU,
It's
UCF.
at West Virginia,
Oh, I forgot what West Virginia.
and then it's
Everyone
Iowa
forgets about West
State and
Virginia.
Lawrence on the 13th.
Yeah.
So we were kind of right.
I
But
think
yeah, then
UCF
you
was the
eventually
first,
have at K-State and BYU to close out January. And then you're at Texas Tech. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean there's
so
There's a lot of
Bottom line, you
tough
need to
opponents.
be in a good position by the start of conference play, i.e., hopefully Darren Peterson's healthy by then, fully healthy. Hopefully you've seen Cole Rosario start to take a step forward. Flory, again, building off what he's doing. Bryson Tiller building off of what he's doing. And then it's, all right, now we go.
Yeah, for sure. Nick Springer, Pay Heat Podcast, KCSN joins the show. I want to go back to something that you were talking about just with the front court with El Marco and, even throwing in Jamari and Jaden Dawson, those kind of guys. What makes Darren Peterson good, and yeah, we know he can stroke it from the 3-point line, but also he's going to be garnering a lot of attention, a lot of double teams, and he's going to be the facilitator of the ball. When he gets the ball to those guys, they got to hit those shots and make those threes. 3-point shooting has been dreadful this year, especially with Melvin Council not hitting a single one. Where's your concern level with that 3-point shooting? Do you think that's going to come, or just what do you think about it so far?
You just can't escape the 3-point shooting conversation, can you? Every year, everybody's like,
last couple
"Oh my
years.
god, 3-point shooting, 3-point shooting." Oh, like, I'm just not that. I mean, like you said with Darren Peterson, like with Cole Rosario and Jaden Dawson specifically, I look at that and say, if Darren Peterson's playing, those guys are going to get more open looks overall, which will obviously help a lot. And quite frankly, Darren Peterson is also, by the way, like your team's best 3-point shooter or second best 3-point shooter. So
Yeah.
like if he's not playing, that also hurts your 3-point shooting as well. But like, I don't know, man. Like we've seen KU teams be bad 3-point shooting teams and still be good. We've seen KU teams be okay 3-point. Like I think with what Bill Self wants to do, KU just needs to be an average to above average 3-point shooting team. I don't think they need to. It's obvious that with how Bill Self wants to play, they're not going to just be relying on it. So I'm not going to be too worried if they have a couple games where they're not shooting it well, because I don't think that that's what their focal point of their offense is. But yeah, you want to have that threat of it, right? Because you want to be able to space the floor. That was the issue last year. Was when you have KJ Adams on the floor, there's no threat, right? He didn't attempt a three. Okay, it's not even like, oh, he's a bad 3-point shooter. It's no, he's not going to shoot. He's literally not going to shoot. So having a guy like Trey White or Bryson Tiller, for example, who actually has proven to be a good 3-point shooter so far this season, that changes a lot of things too. Where you're essentially you're just forcing your opponent to still guard the entire half court, right? When you're in the half court offense, and when you do that, I trust that Bill Self, as an X's and O's coach, is going to be able to scheme up some things and run some plays that are going to be successful if you're still forcing your opponent to guard the entire half court, which that was part of the issue last year. Was they didn't have to do that because you had a guy on the floor that you knew was not going to shoot.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting too because we talk about Council and Jackson. We don't necessarily need them to shoot because if you look at it realistically, those are the 6th and 7th options in terms of shooting threes on this team, because you got White, Tiller, Peterson, Rosario, and Dawson, right?
So
and granted, you don't know how many minutes those guys are going to play, but you need Council and Jackson to contribute in other ways.
I'll make another comparison here. You often hear a lot of people talk about, like, in football, running play action, right? Do you have to have a good run game to have a successful play action? No, not really, right? You can run play action even if your run game sucks and still be good. I think 3-point shooting is kind of the same way, where you just need to have the threat of 3-point shooting to, again, force your opponent to guard the entire half court.
Sure.
And if you're doing that, and then you have a coach like Bill Self, who we all know I think is really, really good when it comes to drawing up half court offense, if your opponent's still forced to be guarding the entire half court, that's going to open things up for you to have more success with your offensive plays, I think.
Yeah. Good insight. Nick Springer joins us from Kansas City Sports Network. Let's talk football. Arizona, any chance you would have gone for it on 4th and 2? What are the issues with Kansas scoring in the second half, Nick? Because this is one heartbreaker after another, it seems like, the past few years. And now they're 5-5. You can't do anything about it. Lance Leipold took accountability for it today at his press conference that we were all at, and said it was the wrong decision, despite the fact that KU wouldn't have had Jalen Daniels for that particular play. But it's more than just the 4th and 2. KU just can't seem to score in the second halves, and it's costing them. And now they've got to beat 2 teams. At least one of them would give them a 6th win, but whether they beat Iowa State or Utah, that's their best win of the season, right? So they're going to have to play better.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised, honestly, with Lance Leipold and how candid he was when he was asked kind of again about that decision against Arizona, and he basically was like, "Yeah, I messed up. Like I did the wrong thing," which is good which I think is truthfully good to hear, because you want to see him reflect on that stuff a little bit, right? I think it's easy for Lance Leipold, if you're inside the building in KU football, it's easy to say, "Hey, I chose not to go for it on 4th and 2, but Syed Gibbs dropped a pick six, right? Like we had him on a
Yeah.
couple third down plays,
Yeah.
you know, like we had other opportunities. So my decision to not go for it on 4th and 2 is not the reason why we lost. But at the same time, you need to have some accountability there and recognize like, okay, they ended up scoring a touchdown anyway. So even if you missed the field goal, or even if you made the field goal, you still lose the game.
Yeah.
So versus, okay, one play and you win it, you certifiably 100% win the game if you get those 2 yards. So I think that was I was somewhat surprised to hear that, but also glad to hear it from him. And then when it comes to some of the second half struggles for Kansas, yeah, I don't really know. I mean, it's been it feels like it's just been death by a thousand cuts when you kind of look back at some of those games where it's been okay, Jalen's been off, or okay, they've missed some assignments on the run game, or they've had some drops, or like it hasn't been necessarily one specific thing that's kind of derailed the offense in some of these games that they've lost, especially. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. I am a little nervous about the fact that Lance Leipold basically kind of said that KU's not as healthy at the running back position, which is annoying because with Daniel Hishaw and Lashon Williams both healthy, that's pretty solid. We just haven't had it. I mean, we're 10 games into the season, about to play KU's 11th game. They've they, Daniel Hishaw and Lashon Williams have been fully healthy together for 2 games.
Yeah, two maybe
three games, maybe 2. You know, so that's disappointing, unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know. With the offense, it is an interesting conundrum. It's one that I'm sure is being talked about inside those halls, just like it is here. But the answer seemingly is not as simple as I think anybody wants it to be because we're 10 games in and has still been a problem.
Well, talk about a team who didn't live up to the expectations. Iowa State, as
Yeah.
of right now, I mean, they lost 4 in a row, kind of in that middle part of the season, and everyone thought that they were going to be in the Big 12 championship picture. Now, they're fighting to get a better record. Kansas has had their number over the last 3 years. They beat them 3 in a row, really over the last 5 years. Tell me what you're seeing out of Iowa State, because we know Matt Campbell's still a good coach. We know Rocco Beck is still a good quarterback. And we know their defensive scheme is really good with that 3-man with the rover. Tell me a little bit more about Iowa State and how you think that game's going to kind of shake out.
Yeah, they've obviously dealt with a lot of injuries. That's kind of been their big bugaboo for the season. That kind of, as you alluded to, kind of derailed part of their season. I think they're even still have some injuries heading into this game against Kansas. So I'll be curious to see sort of what their availability report is. Even though I am a believer that the availability report is stupid and means nothing, it's worthless. The only part of the availability report you should be looking at is who is out. Because if their listed is out, then for sure.
Questionable,
right?
probable.
Anybody else, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's stupid.
It's literally you're either out or you might play.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's incredibly stupid. I hate it. It's pointless. It's just another one of those things that becomes a talking point, I guess, for the talking heads, aka us. But I don't know. Yeah. So in terms of that, it is interesting that KU has managed to beat Iowa State 3 years in a row. And, I think back to the 2022 game where it was Matt Campbell who choked big time, right? Like they missed a bunch of field goals. They had a chance late in the game to go for it. They tried to kick a field goal. They missed. They end up losing. Kansas obviously had the game in 2023 that got them to 7-2, where Jason Bean has that long touchdown pass to Lawrence Arnold late in the game that helped them win that one. So yeah, it's an interesting matchup in that Matt Campbell for a long time, I think, had the reputation of being like, you can't win 1-score games. He's like not, he's good, but like how good is he really? And like that is now kind of shifted on Lance Leipold a little bit.
Yeah.
Like sort of the same conversation, I think. So obviously Ames is a tough place to play. I haven't checked the weather yet for Ames.
53 and sunny, so it won't be horrible for when you look at the schedule when it comes out. You're like, oh, good. The last road game,
November 22nd in Ames. You're thinking like it's going to be like 20 degrees
for sure. It will be an 11 a.m. kick, so it might be a little chilly. Which that came out yesterday. 11 a.m. kick, 9:30 Crimson and Blue show on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and it could be the 4th straight year KU beats Iowa State. If so, we'll be elated on Monday morning.
That's true.
Have to see on that front.
I gotta be honest, guys. If KU can't take care of business against Iowa State, I don't expect them to beat Utah.
Well, the Utah game is so tricky because it's Friday at 11 when most of the students are out of town.
It'll be Black Friday. Yeah.
Black Friday, Friday after Thanksgiving. The crowd's going to be
to me.
Thin.
If you want to get to a bowl game, it's this game.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
We'll see. Iowa State, of course, lost 4 in a row.
Lance has been great off a bye. Well, just wipe the K-State game from
Wipe the
memory.
K-State game, yeah,
Do a little
yeah.
Men in Black, boop,
Yeah.
and then
Great.
we're good.
Great off a bye, great against Iowa State. We have to see 11 a.m. on Saturday at Jack Trice Stadium. Nick, before you get out of here, I got to ask you about the Chiefs. We're going to talk about them a little bit later in the show, but they are now 5-5.
That's my opinion of the Chiefs.
The Broncos are 9-2, so the AFC West is not
Cooked.
completely impossible, but
No, it is impossible,
Seems
yes.
like we'll call it impossible.
I'm calling it impossible.
But I'm very curious what's gone wrong. And I was able to actually sit down and watch the game yesterday. Obviously, the offense, who earlier in the season we thought was getting their mojo back to being the Chiefs or the Chiefs again. They were putting up 28, 35 points, however many it was, consistently there for a while. Then you get Rice back, and you're like, okay, we're back. We don't have excuses now. We got all of our pieces on offense. Pacheco didn't play. I get that. The run game has struggled no matter who's been in there, but it seems like it's something different. Rice dropped a couple passes yesterday, and the offense just wasn't really in rhythm. And then defensively, you've got guys there too. Your defense is always going to give you a chance. What's the problem other than other teams just getting better also?
Well, the problem is they suck. That's the problem.
Very analytical.
I've never been. I don't think I've ever been this angry after a Chiefs game. Maybe in my entire life.
I was
Super Bowl?
mad when
I
they
should-
ruined my Christmas. I
no,
was mad.
I wasn't mad at Super Bowl.
Raiders Christmas game?
No, I wasn't
Wow.
mad there. No, this is the
Jeez.
maddest I've ever been. I think after it. Certainly in
Because
the
you had to
Mahomes
have
era.
this one.
Certainly in the Mahomes era, this is the most angry I've ever been after a Chiefs game. I'm just angry. I'm just very, very mad.
Sure.
I'm extremely, extremely upset. I am. What are those other good synonyms for angry? I'm irate. I am.
Did you
I
say
am
mad?
Perturbed. I am.
Perturbed is a good one. That's
I
a good
am
poll.
very, very, very upset because I hate the Broncos. Bo Nix actually sucks, and yet you got outdueled by him. You got outdueled by Bo Nix.
We also lost
Like,
to Trevor
flat out.
Lawrence earlier
I
this
mean,
year.
Yeah.
Think about this. The Chiefs they had the lead 19-16. They get the ball back with 4 minutes left in the game. 19-16, you have the lead.
Let me
What
stop
do
you
you
right
do?
there, though.
You go 3 and out with a sack. You lose 11 yards. You don't run any time off the clock. Then you get the ball back again at 19-19, and you still do nothing.
How about Butker missing the PAT, having that blocked? Because
Yeah.
if that isn't blocked,
That
it's
doesn't matter. They still would have lost. They
not
kicked field goal.
necessarily, because then
I
it's
mean, the
20 to
Broncos maybe would have tried to
16.
do something different, I guess.
Then
but
it's 20 to 16, and they wouldn't have sent the field goal kicker out. They would have had to go for it because they were down by 4.
currently all of my anger is directed solely at the offense
Okay.
and solely at Andy Reid.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
is it-
I think the
we're
defense,
good on defense,
I think
right?
the defense did fine because if you look at what the Broncos did, think about their scoring drives. They either got the ball with incredible field position,
Yeah.
or they basically had, I think they had like one real drive, because on the opening drive of the game, they go down, they get stopped in the red zone. So good job defense. Second drive, they get the ball all the way down to the 12 for the 70-yard punt return, field goal. Great job defense. Like the defense was good. I thought the defense did fine. The
Yeah.
defense was not the
Be
issue. I
mad
don't
at
think.
special teams too, because we had the blocked kick, we had the long punt return, plus we had a kick out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Tube is catching a lot of heat on Twitter. I know for sure. And
guys
like,
wanna know
I'm
something?
not super happy about Dave Tube either. But
Wait, why do you keep calling him that?
Dave Tobe.
Tobe.
Yeah, you didn't say that. You
Did I
said
say Tube? I
Tube.
know. I
Dave
never.
Tube.
I never know which one it is.
It's
Dave
Tobe.
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 You want a little fun fact about Dave Tobe?
Yes.
Have you ever noticed Dave Tobe does not wear a headset on the sidelines?
Oh yeah.
Headsetless Tobe.
That's weird.
Isn't
that
that
just
weird?
arrogance
This is
or
not
what?
1985, bro.
Yeah, that
Right.
is very
It's
strange.
21st century.
I do have a question because you said you're angry at the offense, and it certainly seems like
I'm incredibly angry.
perturbed. Does it per
I'm having a
Nicholas
hard time
Springer.
not using profane language.
Is it so? We've seen Mahomes not really be Mahomes over the last couple of games, right? I mean, he's throwing some bad picks. He's not connecting with his wide receivers. Is that a communication issue with him and the receivers, or is it a Matt Nagy issue? Does it go all the way to the top to
Oh, yeah.
where you think it's sort of an umbrella, like, hey, Matt Nagy's the one who's not on top of this, or even to go one step further, like
Listen.
Andy Reid?
I have breaking news for you. If you are mad at the play calling, Matt Nagy's the wrong guy to be mad at.
Because
That
it's
is Andy
Andy,
Reid,
right?
That
Yeah,
is
I know that. Well,
Andrew Reid.
that's the
That
thing.
is the problem.
Right.
Okay. Yes, that is the problem. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Okay, he's pissing me off. He's making me really angry. I don't understand it. Like,
Sure.
I mean, you're going up against the best pass rush in the entire NFL in the Broncos. Kareem Hunt's averaging like 4.5 yards per carry. Run the damn ball. It runs the clock. I mean, the drive when it's 19-16 with 4 minutes left. That's the one that I'm the most angry about.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
go 3 and
Continuing
out,
to
you
air
run
it
like
out.
30 seconds off the clock, you get sacked and you punt, you lose 11 yards. Any other iteration of the Chiefs, think about that for a second. the last 7 years of the Chiefs, from Mahomes to 2024, you get the ball back with a lead in the fourth quarter with less than 5 minutes left, the Chiefs win 100% of those games.
Yes.
100%
Yeah.
of the time. You get the ball back, guaranteed auto W. Just sim the rest of the game, guaranteed win. In 2025,
It's not the case.
wrong. Lose. A bunch of losers.
So we've got
Daniel Jones buries there and ends the season.
He's a
the
running
Chiefs
pumpkin. I
have
think he's bad.
the Chiefs have a 6-point loss to the Chargers, a 3-point loss to the Eagles,
They're
a
0-5 and
3-point
won 20
loss to
games.
the Jags, a 7-point loss to the Bills, and a 3-point loss to the
I
Broncos.
think they're last. in
Here's the
NFL
deal,
in
and I
one
was gonna
score
I was
games,
gonna
right?
lead off our Chiefs segment later with this. The Chiefs can still win the Super Bowl. You are crazy if you think they can't.
I don't want them
Absolutely.
to.
They
You-
absolutely
I don't
can
want them
still
to.
get
Go
to the
lose
Super
every
Bowl and
game. I
win
don't
the
care.
Super Bowl.
I'm done.
We should have had Nick on Tuesday instead of Monday, so he had an extra day to
Right.
That's
to
true.
cook on this. But
By
you look at the
Thursday-
upcoming schedule,
That's-
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
and we'll have this later.
By Thursday, I will be off the ledge and everything will be fine.
Okay,
But
good.
Right
Well,
now, I'm just.
you still get the Texans, the Raiders, and the Titans. I mean, if you lose any of those games, then it's a disaster. But here we are. I said this is what we're going to have to do if we lose. We're trying to count the wins, right? I mean, if you lose to the Colts next week, then you're done. But
Good.
say you even go 1-1 against the Colts and at the Cowboys, then you're 6-6. You have those 3 wins: Texans, Titans, Raiders. You have to. You beat the Chargers at home because they beat you in Brazil, and you beat the Broncos at home. You're 11-6. You're fine, right?
Yeah.
If you go 10-7, you're probably still fine, right? With 7 teams getting in, at least you get the playoffs. The
so.
Chiefs still have the talent on both sides. But I will say this, and you talked about this earlier. Butker's a problem, man.
He is.
I mean, you called this earlier.
By the
I
way,
don't know how
I
much
said
of the
this-
block PAT, but he kicked it out of bounds. I already gave you credit. I already gave you credit.
I talked about this, but I was on this before anybody.
He kicked it out of bounds, and the block PAT, which again that matters because the Broncos would have had to do something different if it was 20-16, and he's just not being consistent. Granted, I don't know what the answer is. You're not going to go get Rodrigo Blankenship and expect for all your problems to
Right.
be
I'm here.
erased. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You get Nick Springer, so I don't know, but
it probably wouldn't be worse, right?
but what do you think? I
don't think you want to hear my
the
opinion
upcoming
on
schedule, the
Harrison
Chiefs
Butker.
can get to 10, 11 wins, right? I mean,
Okay,
we
but
just-
here's the problem. You've lost to the Jaguars already. You've already lost to the Chargers. Those are two other
if you
wild
get
card
to
teams.
11, you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Those are two other wild card teams that you're going to be competing with.
You're
the
not
only
going to win the
positive,
AFC West.
the only
for
positive
sure.
for the Chiefs right now is that you managed to beat the Ravens back in week 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
You've lost
Looks
to every other
good.
team. You've lost to every other potential wild card team. Oh, and the Bills too, because the Patriots might win the AFCs.
Yeah.
So you have no tiebreakers
Right.
over
Yeah.
anybody
That's
because
true.
you've lost to all of them.
I think you got to get to 11. I mean, because that's a good
So
point.
you're either relying on Trevor Lawrence to crap his pants down the stretch, which
Hey,
could happen.
Yeah, are you
Could
kidding me?
happen.
That's not that bad to
Or,
rely on.
Again, the math is starting to not math for the Chiefs. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I know we got to throw to a break relatively soon, but I will say this. I was talking about this with Sean off air. You got to remember, like, I don't know. It's like Patrick Mahomes is not a rotting pumpkin. Tom Brady went on a dynasty and then 10 straight years of nothing and then another dynasty.
That's what Nick wants. He wants us to be
So
bad for 10 years.
You want us to be bad for 10 years and then go on another dynasty?
Is that what you need right now, Nick?
I
But
No,
it'll
but
be
it's-
okay.
it's-
Like I'm saying, like it'll be
the Brady comparison is totally irrelevant to me because
if they miss the
he
playoffs.
had Belichick his entire career.
If they miss the playoffs 1 year,
Andy Reid is going to not be the coach of Patrick Mahomes in the very near future.
Sure, I get that, and they're going to have to hire somebody who they believe is going to be the right choice. But
Matt Nagy.
oh, I don't want Matt Nagy as
That's
our-
who your next
as the
head coach is
co-
gonna
I
be.
did not love that.
I'm
I mean,
almost
he
almost
was-
Jake's
I-
dad?
I guess he took Mitchell Trubisky to a
I'm
to,
almost
to a
positive.
playoff win. So
Unless
that's
barring anything
pretty
crazy, I would bet right now today that Matt Nagy is the next head coach of the Chiefs.
Wow.
fair enough. Wow.
Interesting. That's Nick Springer,
Write that
Kansas City
down.
Sports Network.
Write that
Yeah, we'll
down.
write it down. We'll clip
Also
it
for
out.
the
We'll
Chiefs
share it
Radio
on
Network,
socials.
by the way. That's
Chiefs
why
5 and
we didn't
12.
just ask about this.
Yes,
he also
Chiefs
works
Radio
at
Network
Chiefs.
as well. Nick, appreciate your insight. Appreciate you making the time. Let's get you on again sometime soon, especially if the playoffs come around and the Chiefs find themselves in it. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
That'd be fun.
Maybe.
We got to get some wins. Though. I'm
Actually,
worried
I
about.
already, my game plan is Cancun on 3. I've already booked
my
my trip
God.
to Cancun for 2nd
I
of
don't like the
January.
fact that
You-
now
you
we get the
cleared your
Colts,
January?
and the Colts are coming off a bye, and then we have to play at the Cowboys. That game just kind of scares me. I think we'll be able to score.
Yeah, I've already cleared the schedule in January. I'm going on vacation.
Fair enough.
Okay, you're
You won't see me.
Cancun on 3. All right, that's the plan.
Cancun
Nick
on 3.
Springer, KCSN, and the Chiefs Radio Network. Okay, after this, we are going to talk KU soccer. Plus, we're going to hear from Trey White and Flory Bidunga post-game KU 76-57 victory on Saturday. That's next on Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, and ESPN Kansas City. John Kellerman, Dan Courtwright back on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Well, a great weekend for KU athletics, and perhaps the highlight was the KU soccer team advancing in the NCAA tournament. They will now play on Thursday at 3 o'clock in Durham against Louisville, as the 3-seed Jayhawks will go up against the 6-seed Cardinals. KU on Friday night closed down Rock Chalk Park for the 2025 campaign with a 3-1 victory over Henry Greenstein's Cal Baptist Lancers. Dan, exciting game. I think I said 2-0 as a prediction. You said 3-0. They end up getting one to the Lancers, but KU pretty comfortably gets the win.
Yeah, it was a free kick, so it was in the 29th minute. So, that it pretty much was 3-0. Free kicks can be always weird. Kansas dominated on every facet of this game. I mean, you look at shots on goal, Kansas had 12, they only had 5, right? Total shots in general, Kansas had 20, they had 8, and just an excellent showing from start to finish from this Kansas squad. It makes you feel good, right? I mean, obviously it's Cal Baptist. Cal Baptist got in, because they won their conference. They were 10-9-1, 10-9-3, maybe something like that. I know they had 9 losses on the season. So, it feels good to get that nice win at home. Now it's going to go. You're going to Durham to play against Louisville. That's going to be a lot tougher. But Sophie Daw has been excellent all year long, right? She is pitched shutout after shutout after shutout. Consider, there's obviously a couple games like the Baylor game where she gave up 4, I believe. There's a couple of other games where she gave up a couple, but Sophie Daw has really been the story of the defensive side of the ball, as well as Caroline Castans, who has just been an incredible midfielder, credible defender as well. She gets in those passing lanes. She does an excellent job. And Lexi Watts on the flip side of that, on the offensive side of the ball, she's been awesome too. You talk about Sage Wimes, you talk about Jillian Grigorski. I mean, you have a number of different players. It's not just Lexi Watts, right? You have Kate Langfelder. You have different girls who late in the season are scoring their first goals of their season, right? You're talking about Harema, right? So there's so many, just the talent level of the squad, I think, is better than it was last year, and I think last year Kansas was primed to make a really good run. Obviously, they won the Big 12 tournament, and now you bring a lot of those girls back, right? You brought back Lexi Watts and Caroline Castans and Sophie Daw and all these different girls, enough time to kind of develop under Nate Lee. I mean, I feel really good about what they're going to be able to do against Louisville.
KU outshooting the Lancers 20-8, 12-5 shots on goal. Daw, you mentioned she tallied 3 saves. She now has 61 on the season. And yeah, Louisville, very, very tough battle. But if KU wins this, then you're talking about the round of 16. Would be really exciting. Again, it's going to be Thursday, 3 o'clock.
So remind me, the round of 16 is still in Durham, right? That's when it kind of changes into the pod, I believe. So
good thing that Henry is coming back before the game.
So I believe the round of 32 and the round of 16, both of those are going to be in the same location. Okay. And then when you go on to the Elite 8, then it changes to somewhere else.
My understanding is the winner of that game will take on the winner of Duke versus UCF. See, that checks out, though.
It's not that we don't know soccer. It's the fact that we don't know the different, because like baseball's different, softball's different, soccer's different, volleyball's different, basketball is different. There's so many different formats of these different postseason tournaments that it's just so hard to keep track of.
Duke versus UCF. My understanding is that the KU Louisville winner will take on Duke versus UCF, which is why the game is being played in Durham. So yeah, interesting that it's kind of a separate pod, and then the winner of the round of 16 would go to 8, and that's when I think we have.
That's when it'll change and go.
Eventually, it's going to be in Kansas City.
Right.
You got to check to see if it's 8 in Kansas City or. It'll just be the 4 in Kansas City.
Okay, so just the Final Four is in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say Final Four? I mean, that's just basketball, right? I know they have like copyrights on that
Frozen
stuff.
4? I mean, whatever you want to.
Yeah,
Frozen
Final
4 for hockey
is different.
We'll go with that. Shouts to KU Soccer for that win on Friday night, and we'll keep you updated. Exciting stuff there for Coach Nate Lee in his second season here at KU. Picks up his first NCAA tournament win leading the Jayhawks. All right, KU basketball, they defeated Princeton 76-57. Let's hear some post-game sound from Trey White and Flory Bidunga.
Really efficient, both ends of the court. What went right for you? And did you do anything different going in the game? Or did you feel different, or was it just one of those?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, some time, is a way to go to me. I just trying to take what they give it to me. So, one position, they gave me the baseline. So, I took, that's path, and then next one, you know, the middle was open. So again, I was just trying to work, as I said again last time, work on my athletic abilities, and then everything fell off pretty good.
Intrigue, biggest game in KU career, 18 and 8, 10 of 13 from the free throw line. What went right for you?
I feel like, you know, me personally, I just try to just hold my hat on, you know, playing hard, doing the little things, you know, to help us win. And I feel like I'm a mismatch sometimes. If I got a little guy on me, I try to use my strength. If I got a big guy on me, I try to use my speed. And I feel like tonight, you know, we did a good job of everybody playing downhill. So.
Just for either of you guys, Coach Self calls timeout when it's a 1-point game early in the second half. What was the message during that timeout? And obviously, you guys come out with a big run after that.
Basically, just clean up. You know, we're not playing against them. We're playing against us. So just trying to hold our hat on our principles. You know, he ain't say it that clean, but you know that was the message for sure. That was the message.
And then, what was it like for you guys? I guess just with the sheer variety of lineups that were used in the first half, and I guess even the second half too, but especially in the first.
I mean, I would say we help us to get ready. You know, we're trying to do some combination, you know, to see where we are, what worked best for us, and then, you know, I think we're still working on it. I mean, work out pretty well tonight, I would say. So we will look forward for that.
Trey, Bryson gets his first start. What do you think about how he, got it done?
Yeah. First of all, I'm a big fan of Bryson. I feel like he's not even scratching the surface of what he could do yet. He's 6'11", 250, something like that, and can move. So, you know, we still got more to see out of him. And I'm excited how he kept his composure. You know, they was hacking tonight. He wasn't getting a lot of calls, but he still was doing the little things. So once he hit some shots too, you know, we're gonna be a scary team. So I'm excited to see him.
Flory, I think you went on a kind of a 9 straight run right at the end of the first half. Kind of tell me about when in your mindset. It felt like you were a little more aggressive and kind of taking it. I think you dunked on somebody, then you that contact layup, you hit the N1. Kind of go through your mindset during that time.
You know, I was just trying to do my best. Obviously, you know, they came out pretty stronger. You know, was hitting a lot of threes, and I feel like if we put the energy on our side, you know, I think stuff will turn up our way, and then that's what I was trying to do as much as possible.
And Trey, I think Flory showed off a decent amount of post moves basically not seen so far. Is this kind of what you guys see in practice from him on a day-to-day basis?
Man, yeah, it's not even the half of what we see. I tell Flo all the time, whenever he flips that switch mentally, I feel like he's the best big in our conference, you know, in the nation too. So tonight was just a little glimpse of that, for sure.
In a couple days, you guys have another nationally televised game against Duke. I'm wondering, both you guys were heavily recruited. I know there's some years, but do you know anything about those guys? Have you watched them, and just kind of any thoughts on the matchup and what it's going to be like playing in Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, it's going to be a big game. You know, not trying to make it too high or too low. Another even kill game for us, but they like to play fast. You know, they got some key players, but, you know, we're trying to just take it one game at a time and not look too far ahead, but we're definitely ready for war with that one.
Trey, you talked about everybody playing downhill tonight. Is there extra emphasis on that when Darren's out?
I feel like that's our mindset, even when he is in the game. You know, Darren is just so gifted that he can make, you know, step back threes, fading and stuff like that, but that's, you know, where we hold our hat downhill and on the defense end too.
And how about with initiating? Just obviously you got Melvin out there doing that, but do you or maybe Jaden or whoever, even Flory tonight, do you guys all look to share that a little bit more when you know, your top initiator like that's not out there?
Most definitely. I feel like, you know, when we don't have Darren out there, I feel like that's, you know, one of our best ways of scoring. Just everybody getting downhill, everybody being a threat, and tonight it kind of showed.
Trey, there were a couple times where they went on a little bit of a run and you got fouled, got to the free throw line. How much does Coach call on you to do that? I think you drew 6 fouls tonight and got to the line and stopped that momentum.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's definitely one of my roles, you know, trying to get fouled, being a bigger guard and, you know, a bigger guy like that. So I feel like it was really my teammates' job. You know, we all stayed collected whenever they went on those loud runs. You know, they made hella threes tonight, and I feel like we just stuck together and, you know, fought through it. So I feel like if we keep building on that this year, we'll be good.
You guys led by 10 and they cut it to 3 in about a minute. What were you thinking at that point, and how did you finally shake Princeton?
Yeah, I would say, you know, we just need to clean up some stuff, you know, just guard your man. And then I think, like we talked about, it's a way that this team will beat us is if we give up some threes and, you know, some backouts. So just clean up those things, and then, you know, I think that was like the message after the Cats lead.
What did you think of Trey's play?
I mean, I feel like he was the most energetic guy, you know. He got us up. You know, I even talked to him. I was like, when I was out, I was like, come on, Trey, pick us up. So, man, you know, he can do some great things, and then I think he has shown us. I would say not a lot of them because, you know, we still need to improve, but so far, you know, that's pretty great.
Are you guys looking forward to going to New York, Trey?
Yeah, looking forward. That's definitely a big game, televised game for us. Got some big matchups there, but like I said earlier, we're not trying to, make it a bigger than what it's supposed to be, even kill.
Nah, you got it.
Hey, when Wilder checks in, what? Obviously, he doesn't play first half minutes very often. What does that do for you guys? What do you see, and how much does that get your attention, and in what ways?
Wilder been here for probably the longest than everybody, so he worked hard. I would say, he really pushed us in practice to do better. And then, just a couple of minutes that he was there, I think he gave up a pretty effort defensively. And then, just have to push, just push us up. If Water can do it, what can we? So.
That's Trey White and Flory Bidunga post-game. KU's 3-1 after their win over Princeton on Saturday. Hawks ranked number 24 in the country. They get number 5 Duke tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Realistically, it'll be like 8:15 because the Kentucky game will go long and all that jazz. But Kentucky, Michigan State kicks off the Champions Classic at Madison Square Garden tomorrow. Used to be kind of the big college basketball is back showcase, right? It used to be the first game of the year there for a while. I kind of like that it's just a little bit later in the season, and it leads into Feast Week, which, as you know, is my second favorite time of year.
Of course. I mean, there's nothing better than watching basketball in ballrooms on that week of Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It's just there's just something about it where you're like, oh man, look
They're
at this.
in Atlantis, and
it's Georgia Tech taking on like
Villanova.
Arkansas. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, no, I'm actually with you. I think I like it more. The fact that it is a little bit later, and because like there's so much writing. I mean, it's the biggest national stage too, and it's kind of like appetizer to Feast Week.
Yeah, right.
There you go. Look at that.
I enjoy a good Thanksgiving
that's
appetizer.
What's a good what's an appetizer you eat
on Thanksgiving? Whiskey sour.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Well, actually, I don't really eat appetizers on Thanksgiving.
What is your Thanksgiving breakdown though? Just so I know.
This is a whole different conversation. We can have it now, I guess. So for Thanksgiving, usually we'll eat Thanksgiving dinner or lunch, if you will, at like 3:34 because it takes so long for the turkey to. So it's great, and I just absolutely gorge myself. Like I eat so much food that if I open my mouth, you can see it.
Yeah.
But before that, like I'm not eating because A, there's no food in the house because it's all being cooked, and B, no places are open. So I can't like go to McDonald's and like get a breakfast or something because they're closed because it's Thanksgiving. So I spend the entire day starving myself, fasting until 3 o'clock, and then I just
you were so
shovel
strong.
as much food down my gullet as possible.
So
you,
so you guys have one big meal.
Yes,
and it's 3. Okay. It weirds me out when people call supper or whatever at 1 p.m. Dinner, supper, or whatever. Oh yeah, we're dinner will be ready at 1 p.m.
But Thanksgiving's always for me at least, it's always in that gray area of like it's not dinner time.
Yeah,
but it's way past
it's
lunch,
great because then you can have pie, and then you can have more pie later.
And
but
maybe I will. There are some times where I'll sneak because like we'll like buy a pie from like Walmart.
Right.
Sam's
What's your
Club or
go-to
something.
pie?
Depends. So
that is
like,
a underwear brand.
Yeah, well, it's an adult diaper brand.
Yes.
That's
okay.
I have a joke about that, but I mean, I love a good pecan.
Yeah. Oh, pecan pies are great. Yeah, pumpkin pie with some Cool Whip.
But like that's unbeatable.
Cherry
right?
pie.
I love
French silk pie.
The only 2 pies I go on Thanksgiving are pumpkin or pecan.
Here's a life hack
I'll
for
eat
you.
cherry pie whenever.
Life hack for you: Black Friday breakfast, leftover pumpkin pie.
Oh, so good.
Breakfast.
I do a. It's similar to the Moist Maker from Friends, but I mean I'll just like cold turkey sandwiches the next day. Get out of town.
Yeah.
I'll eat it like 10 a.m.
Since you asked, what we do is
what do you do?
we have our big meal, but it's normally closer to dinner time, which is like 5:36, because in the morning we kick things off with egg casserole. My mom makes this fire egg casserole with sausage, breakfast sausage, and eggs and cheese. And you have that with whiskey sour. Start your day, and then you sort of transition over. But she'll make a cheese ball too. That I don't even know what goes in it, but you put it on crackers, and it's great.
Are you a traditional whiskey sour guy? Do you put the egg whites in, or you just
don't do the egg whites? So what we do is
sweet and sour and
no, totally different. So we'll put it in a blender. We'll fill a blender with ice, and then what you do is you take a can of the frozen lemonade.
Sure.
dump that in, and then you fill that can like 3/4 worth of bourbon. Jim Beam is fine.
Yeah.
And then you put that, and then you just blend it. Add some
Interesting.
grenadine.
Man.
Dude, and then we do the same.
I gotta
Then
start
we do
taking
the
notes,
same
man.
thing.
This is crazy.
Dude, Kellermans know how to do a holiday,
No
man.
kidding.
Yeah, and then Christmas we'll do the same thing with whiskey sours. It's delicious.
Fair enough.
I mean, you can only have like 5 of them though, because they're so sweet. So you gotta
Well, sure,
you gotta
of
call it
course.
after 5, 6, or 7.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So anyway, but no, looking
Egg
forward to it.
casserole, man.
Are you doing something? Your top 10 tomorrow? Are you doing something Thanksgiving related, or is that not going to be till next week?
I might do it next week. I might do something tomorrow.
Yeah. We don't know what our
Thanksgiving
shows are going to look like next week because we
Yeah,
have Kansas Jayhawk basketball. So
yeah,
we'll
we
keep
got
you
basketball
updated on
games for Monday and Tuesday for sure.
and
so
Wednesday.
That could be
in all likelihood.
Yes, and
plus
Wednesday, so-
Friday football at 11. So we don't really know, but you'll have some coverage on KansasNation.com.
I'll do top 10 Thanksgiving something tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah, top 10 Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier today that I think I might go to my garage a little bit later and start bringing a few things in, if you know what I mean.
We put up our Christmas tree this weekend.
Did you?
We did.
There you go. On top of it. I thought it was still up.
You know what's crazy? It was. It was downstairs. We just moved it upstairs.
Yeah,
But
nice.
it was still attached together, and the lights were all the ornaments were still on it.
That is weak.
No, I know it's bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad,
Oh.
guys. It's horrible. But
Yeah, you're in the Christmas spirit now.
all the time.
Case of the Monday segment, some KU volleyball talk after this on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com. KU volleyball got revenge, Dan, as they went to the Little Apple and did what we've been waiting for in the 3 weeks since they beat us at Allen Fieldhouse. The Hawks sweep the Wildcats out of Manhattan. They stay hot, does Kansas volleyball. They have now won 10 of their last 11 matches, and they've got 20 wins now on the season. The number 13 ranked Jayhawks do. Jovana Zelenovic and Ryan Swanson each posted 10 kills. And Reese Patak had 9 on 60% hitting percentage. Grace Nelson had 7. Katie Dalton with 35 assists. Ryan White had 14 digs to lead all players. KU also had 8 blocks with Aisha Iono and Zelenovic tallying 4 apiece. 20-8 overall, 11-3 in Big 12 play. That record's looking pretty sparkly after some tough losses early in the season. So KU got that big win, and now they continue a 4-match road trip. They got to go to Utah and BYU and Iowa State November 19th. So that's Wednesday, Friday, and then next Wednesday as well. 3 more road games for KU volleyball before they return home senior day on November 29th to take on UCF. But good vibes continue for Matt Ulmer's squad. Again, it was tough first part of the season. We'll see how it shakes out. But KU still has a really good chance to host now as they're in that top 16, number 13, and seemingly just getting better.
Yeah, and look, in the last 5 games, right, before that was the loss in Allen Fieldhouse to Kansas State. Since then, they've only given up 2 sets, right? They beat Cincinnati 3-1. They beat West Virginia 3-0. They beat Colorado, who's number 20 in the nation, 3-1. Cincinnati 3-0, and then Kansas State 3-0 on the road. They're taking on Utah, like you said, in Salt Lake City. That's going to be on Wednesday. And look, you got to feel good, right, about this Kansas volleyball squad. I mean, Zelenovic has been awesome all year on the offensive side and the defensive side. Like you said, she had 4 blocks, also had a bunch of kills in the Kansas State game. So it continues with BYU. They got a nice little road stretch. The Kansas Athletics seems to like to lump those 2 together with Utah and BYU because they got Utah on Wednesday and then BYU on Friday. So a little bit of an extended road trip out there for Matt Ulmer's squad.
Yeah, Big 12 does a pretty good job. They put those 2 together. They put Arizona State together. A lot of times you see Cincinnati, West Virginia together as well. So makes sense if they're able to make that happen, the powers that be. But yeah, shout out to everybody at KU volleyball.
What do you lump UCF with?
The first game of the season, and then you never go back. It sure seems like that happens for KU a lot. KU basketball opening Big 12 slate January 3rd out by Disney World. Case of the Mondays segment. Let's start with the Texas A&M Aggies.
Your boys
looked like they were going down.
My goodness,
no.
Texas A&M. They were so it's Case of Mondays for South Carolina.
Exactly. A&M got it done.
A&M. They were down 30-3 at halftime.
Over at Kyle Field.
Yes, it was at Kyle Field too. They came back. They scored 28 unanswered points to go ahead and beat South Carolina, the Gamecocks. Did you see, by the way, the cop in the? We don't have a video of this, but there was a police officer for Texas A&M, and South Carolina just scored, and the couple of guys that went down into the tunnel because of momentum or something, and a cop like shouldered one of the South Carolina players.
I didn't see
It's
that.
kind of wild. Yeah, it was definitely a crazy thing. And after that, I mean, there's all Texas
Is that
A&M.
what
So
Manziel was tweeting about?
maybe.
Yeah,
I bet it was.
Johnny Football.
It's kind of wild,
Yeah.
but I do have a crazy stat for you. So in SEC play since 2004, teams are 0-286 when trailing by 27 plus points. Now it is 1-286.
Pretty good.
That's unbelievable. Marcel Reed, by the way, I know there's a lot of Heisman talk, and it's really kind of up in the air. Nobody's really running away with it, right? I mean, you got Jeremiah Love, and you know, even like Gunnar Stockton's making his name, and Fernando Mendoza obviously looks really good for Indiana, but Marcel Reed's up there, and I mean, he certainly showed it, at least in the second half.
I mean, South Carolina would have still had a chance at bowl eligibility. They're always kind of like the 11th best team in the SEC.
Yeah, they're always kind of in purgatory, aren't they?
And A&M, who now remaining on their schedule, they get Samford at home, and then they're at Texas. That could be vital, but they still probably would have been in the college football playoff had they lost this. But yeah, awfully impressive for the Aggies. A team that not many people were on in the preseason, but here they are, still without a loss. So yeah, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, some
tough.
people were looking at them like, you know,
hey,
like 30th,
around
there. Right?
I know
there was a lot of maybe some national pundits
top
who were,
three.
We're not super high on Texas A&M.
But Scotty Oaks sure was,
right? Because I thought Baylor was going to be better than Texas A&M, and look
yeah,
what
that was silly by you. Scotty Oaks though, that dude knows ball.
He
All right, what's
does.
next on Case of the Mondays?
So, Case of Mondays for whoever runs for president in 2036. This is a funny report that came out. John Krasinski, not John Krasinski, John Krasinski.
Yeah,
he's a reporter for
from Lackawanna County.
Yes, not Jim Halpert. Different John Krasinski. He's a writer for The Athletic. This report came out. Apparently, LaMelo Ball, while he was in the draft process, reportedly scared away the Minnesota Timberwolves during the draft process when he said that after he's done with the NBA, he wants to become president of the United States.
That was scary to them?
That's the thing. Like, say your goal's high. So this is a quote per John Krasinski. He said, "So we know they picked Edwards, but that's not my little nugget for you all. It's why they picked Edwards." They said there was a million different reasons in their evaluation, but one of them was that he had an interview with LaMelo Ball during the process trying to figure out, hey, is this guy for us? And LaMelo did not interview very well. One of the questions they asked him was, hey, LaMelo, after you're done playing, what do you see yourself doing? What kind of things do you aspire to do? And LaMelo said, I want to be president of the United States.
Hey, what's wrong with that?
Look at that. Look,
it could happen.
We've seen crazier things happen, right?
We have.
I would certainly be okay with that. LaMelo Ball, he seems like a likable guy. I think he's
also really good.
He's also really good. And the Ball brothers have done such a good job of sort of separating themselves from, because as if you may recall, maybe some of the younger kids don't realize this, because LaMelo Ball has become sort of he's gotten into his own zeitgeist, right? He's sort of become his own person. But in the beginning era, it was LeVar and the Ball brothers,
and Lonzo was the
and Lonzo
cream
was
of the crop.
Yes, Lonzo was the main thing, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, look at this LaMelo kid. He's like this 8th grader with this like blonde hair and braces, and he looks he's pulling up from half court, right?
And now he's the biggest baller of all.
He's the best ball brother, right? I mean, LiAngelo, good rapper, but not a good ball player, right? But no, I don't know. I think that's kind of fun. By the way, I did look into it. So you can't run for president until you're 35 years old. He is 24, but there is a presidential election in 36.
How about that? That is the type of research that you don't get everywhere, guys. I mean,
I did my research, and you can already count me in. I'm writing it in right now.
There you go.
LaMelo Ball.
Impressive.
For 36.
Speaking of parents in the NBA,
that's right.
LeBron James Jr. has a parent.
Case of the Mondays for nepo parents. We sort of live in this weird, bizarro world right now, especially with where the Lakers are. So, if you would have ever told me, hey, there's going to be a stint of time where LeBron James Jr. Is a starter for the Lakers, and LeBron James Sr. would not just be injured, but be in the G League. LeBron James, because he's got hurt, he had, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he had some kind of injury that kept him out until now. And as a part of his rehab process, he got assigned to the South Bay Lakers. Shout out to Andre Ingram. Didn't play a game for the South Bay Lakers, unfortunately. I thought that would have been very funny to see LeBron James Sr. out there playing for the G League, but didn't score a single point for the G League. Average 0 points per game, 0 minutes per game, and then all of a sudden they're bringing LeBron James Sr. back up to the big leagues.
That's ridiculous.
It's got to be because his son is a starter, right?
That's ridiculous.
And I'm tired of this nepotism.
So
right? I think LeBron James Sr. has to earn his stripes.
Have you seen the box score from the Lakers game that Bronny started?
No.
He played 10 minutes.
Sure.
No points.
Of course.
0 of 2 shooting.
Fun.
He did have an assist, a steal, and a rebound.
Ah.
Why is he starting?
I don't know.
Dalton Connect was plus 24 off the bench. He played 34 minutes. I just don't understand why Bronny is starting. Luka, by the way, he's still awesome. He had 41 on 9 of 19, hit 5 threes, 18 of 20 free throws. That's some SGA stuff right there. 9 boards, 6 assists. Couple Luka's ridiculous, but the Lakers are. I just don't understand why Bronny is starting. Like
maybe
keep him on the roster because of LeBron James Sr. Sure, but
it's got to be like PR, right? It's got to be just like
Connect is kind of like Austin
there.
Reeves, I guess, positionally.
Yeah, but Austin Reeves is. I think Austin Reeves is better.
He's awesome. Yeah,
than Dalton.
Exactly.
Connect.
Reeves is in there starting
earlier on this year.
He's a dog.
But Luka Doncic obviously is. It's turned into Luka's team. Even if you have LeBron James, right? Even if you have, I'm talking about senior, not junior.
Oh, okay, LeBron James. Senior.
Yeah, right. I know I have to.
It's tough.
Differ between the two. Man, they should come up with a good nickname for LeBron James Jr. Nothing's coming to me.
Oh, I got it. The King.
No. See, I think that's already. Is already somebody's?
Dude, we were talking. We were talking about this off air. Tell me what I can do with my video games of old.
I'm glad you asked, Sean.
Because I've got a ton still in boxes in my garage.
On regular days, with your video games of old, you can take them to GameStop and they'll give you store credit, and you can buy other games at GameStop. Or Funko Pops. I believe that's like the main thing that they sell now.
What are those?
They're little doll. They're pretty much bobbleheads, but they don't bobble.
Okay.
And they don't look anything like the thing that they're supposed to be representing.
Why are they all the rage?
You know, that is a beautiful question. Why is 6'7" a thing? There's just some questions that cannot be answered.
I don't know. But why would we do this?
I'm glad you asked. On December 6th, yes, you could take your games in to GameStop, but on December 6th, GameStop announced that they are doing a trade anything day. Customers will be able to walk into any store and literally trade anything in exchange for store credit. What are some fun things you can think of to because they do have a list of this actually was
Pez dispensers.
Pez dispensers would be good. M&Ms. Apparently there is an entire list
pennies.
of things you can't trade in.
Might want to hang on to your pennies though.
So you might want to hang on to those. Those could be worth a lot someday. I mean, they're worth 4 cents right now, right? At least to produce.
Yeah.
So some of the things you can't trade in are alive and dead animals, of course. Lithium batteries, that could be dangerous. Liquids, chemicals, alcohol, drugs, and then many other items. But I'm thinking I want to think that's like fingernails.
Oh God.
What? What's wrong with that?
So they and then do they decide how much store credit you get?
I believe so.
You're probably not getting a lot for your
fingernails. What about like I don't know, like your recyclables, you know, like you're recycling, like what if you miss recycling day?
I just don't get it.
That day. And
what is behind this? Well, what's the point of this?
I mean, I would imagine it's just to get people to go back to game. I mean, how many people? When's the last time you stepped foot in a GameStop?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I'll even ask Elijah. You're a big gamer. When's the last time you stepped foot in a GameStop? Hadn't been over a year. And did you buy a game? Okay, so you bought a controller, so sure, but that's fair.
I mean, it's still alive and kicking here in Lawrence.
But here, and it is. It's right next to Jason's Deli.
Mm-hmm. Right next to your house.
Yeah, I live really close by there.
Very close.
Yeah, I'm just so curious because like, if somebody brings in like a half bag of Cheetos,
right?
And they're giving away store credit. Like, what do they do? Like,
they can say no, but yeah,
they can say no. They could be at their own discretion. But I mean, it's trade anything. Like, if you're gonna do this, go all in, man.
Right.
Go all in.
Right.
Firearms.
I'm pretty sure that's on the you cannot bring this list.
Sure, fine.
All right, Grace College wraps up our Case of the Mondays. Tell us about them.
Yes, Grace College wraps up our Case of the Mondays because they scored It's interesting. They shouldn't be on here, but they are, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So they defeated Ohio Christian College 172 to 91.
Ah, it's bad defense. They
Impressive,
gave up
right?
91.
They gave up 90. It is bad defense. They gave up 91, but they've scored 172. You got to be thinking, man, that's pretty high, right? Well, according to Grace College and ESPN, I have a picture of this. They wrote this down. They said all-time college scoring record 172. I hate to break this to you guys, but Troy University, they scored 258 in a game back in the 90s.
What?
I want to say it was the 90s. Do you know? This is a great trivia question, by the way. Do you know who they were playing?
Oh no.
Take a wild guess.
South Alabama.
No.
Who?
It's. I promise you've heard of them because you used to see their commercials all the time.
Mid-America University.
No. DeVry.
Oh my God.
DeVry University, you know the diploma mill, if you will. They're like the second biggest diploma mill behind like the University of Phoenix.
My God.
DeVry University used to have a college basketball team, and DeVry University
They got 258 hung on them.
Well, it doesn't even stop there. DeVry, I gotta find this. DeVry scored 141 in that game. 258 to 141.
Hey, that's not a good feeling for
By the way, there's a great video. John Boyce. If you know who John Boyce is, he does an excellent job of kind of doing his own stuff. John Boyce has a great video on this about how he doesn't think they actually scored 258 points. It still would be the all-time record, but I believe it's like 255. Like, I think they miscounted.
Oh, God forbid.
I believe in the official box score, they miscounted, and he went back and watched the entire game and did the stats himself. And he said he couldn't every time he watched it, he couldn't find 258 anywhere. But the official record as of right now is Troy with 258. So Grace College, you lied.
Anyway, they scored 172. That's pretty good. By the way, Ohio Christian,
yes,
they picked up a win over Oakland City not that long ago. So shout out to them after giving up 172.
Also, wanted to shout this out as well. This would be our last one on the Case of the Mondays. It's Case of Mondays for Pitt women's basketball because they lost to the Electric City.
Oh,
Scranton.
Life moves a little slower
College
in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Division III,
legit
powerhouse,
Scranton. Not Scranton, Kansas.
They defeated Pitt in women's basketball.
That's right.
I didn't know Scranton.
D3.
I didn't know Scranton had a. Yeah, so it's always funny.
And the Pitt men recently lost the backyard brawl.
They did.
To West Virginia.
I know.
It's a real bummer. Tough
Pitt
scene.
also lost to Notre Dame, didn't they?
Yeah, that wasn't close.
No,
wasn't close. The Irish are in good standing.
College
there.
game day was there.
After
that was
this,
tough.
we'll talk KU women's basketball winning the border war. Plus, we'll hear from Bill Self post game on the men's side. Rock Chalk Sports rolls on. KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Well, Saturday's edition of the Border War went to the Jayhawks, 82-77. Dan at T-Mobile. Hawks are 4-0 after knocking off Missouri.
Yes, Julia Davis played in this game. It was good to see her back out there on the court. She had 15 points, but the story about this one, Elle Evans, 20 points. She went 4 for 7 from the three-point line, finally finding her rhythm after kind of a slow start for Elle Evans. Samaya Nichols, obviously, she's like, we always say the head of the snake, right? She also had 20 points. She had an outstanding game. She went 6 for 13 from the field, 7 to 10 from the free throw line. She's so good at getting to the free throw line. That's like her biggest attribute is that she's able to get those drives, those tough shots up and get to the free throw line and consistently, score elsewhere as well. But it was good to see Elle Evans really start to come to, right? Because you were watching this Kansas women's basketball squad and you're like, all right, well, Julia's good, right? But she gets into foul trouble. That's going to be tough. Reagan Williams will come in and she'll do a good job. You have Samaya, you don't really have any other consistent scoring. So it's good to see Elle finally getting her groove back. I want to see more, obviously, out of some of the freshmen as well, other than Julia Davis, like Libby Fandel and Keely Parks. Keely didn't even play in this game, but Libby Fandel, she played 13 She played 13 minutes in this one. She only had 3 points coming from the 3-point line. Only put up 3 other shots, all from outside of the 3-point line. No rebounds at all. So again, she's a freshman. It'll come to her. I think Libby is going to be a vital piece for this Kansas squad moving forward. But you have those veterans on this squad who you really feel good about. But Kansas taking down Missouri felt good.
Always feels good. 49-39 it was at half. KU shot a blistering 64.5% from the field in the first half. Mizzou would cut it to 1 at 71-70 before a late 8-0 KU run provided a little bit of separation. So the Hawks played really well offensively, and they needed to in this one to get to 4-0. And like you said, Evans is certainly key. She's a very, very key player for Kansas this season. On the men's side, it was Flory Bidunga stealing the show. 25 points, 10 rebounds. His first double-double this season, third of his career. Also had 3 blocks. Flory, always going to be a rim protector, really showcased his athleticism and bounce. Bill Self, post-game, talked about Flory and how he felt about the rest of the players in Saturday's win.
Yeah, I thought Flory was he's the best player in the game in the first half by far, and gave us a lead because we obviously weren't any good till then, and then Trey did some good things too. So I would say of our bright spots, those would probably be the 2 brightest ones.
And Duke Tuesday night, big match at Madison Square. Do you get fired up for these games? I mean, all the games are important, but
Yeah, we'll get fired up. I'm not in the best of spirits right at this moment, but we'll get fired up. We'll start watching. Well, we've been watching, but we'll certainly spend the rest of the day and getting us ready for practice tomorrow to implement how we want to guard them or how we're going to attempt to guard them and get ready for the game. It'll be a big boy game. They're good, and they're young again. Somebody asked me if they're better than last year, and I said, well, it's too early to tell. But this early in the season, I think they may execute their stuff better than last year, for sure. Now, last year, they had 4 or 5 first-round draft picks and 3 lottery picks. So if I'm not mistaken, certainly, they're loaded again, and then they got a guy that, he could foul out a whole team. So we got to figure out some way to guard him.
Coach Trey said when Flory flips the switch, he thinks he's one of the best bigs in the conference, if not the country. I was wondering, when did you kind of see him flip the switch over the course when you guys had that slower start?
Well, everybody, the last 5 minutes of the first half. I don't know the exact time, but I'd say the last 5 minutes of the first half, we go from up 3 or 1 or whatever to up 8 or 9 at halftime, and that was primarily because of flow offensively.
So did you get what you wanted out of Bryson starting today?
I don't really think I got much of what we wanted today, period. I think that we can obviously play a lot better, but our ball and body movement was very poor. And when you don't move the ball and you don't help each other, and then kind of stand around and then end up not shooting the ball great, it doesn't look great offensively. So I don't think we really got, even with Flory and Trey. I think as collectively as a group, I still think individually they were pretty good and their numbers were good, but I don't think we meshed very well together as a fivesome at all today.
I'm sure you touched on some of it just now, but what frustrated you most, I guess, about the way you guys started out?
I thought, when a game plan is to deny back cuts, and they didn't throw it to them, but we were beat on the first possession twice. And then they got up 6 threes, if I'm not mistaken, in the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the half. That's how you start a game. And switching up and doing all that stuff. I think that was poor. That set the tone. I was pissed from the beginning. Wilder has never entered a game that early in a game in his life, but I actually thought he did fine, and because we didn't guard. Guys that it's okay not to be great offensively or whatnot, but you got to be good defensively. And if you're not a great shooter or you're not making shots at this moment, then do something to help us win. And we didn't guard.
And just following up on that, I guess, bringing in Wilder, some of the other guys you brought in earlier than usual, maybe. How effective was that as a
It
challenge?
wasn't.
To, okay.
Did you guys think it worked? No, but not at all. But it wasn't any worse. But no, I don't think by any stretch that was. But I did think that G played, at least he's a threat to score. He was +7 in 3 minutes or whatever the first half. So maybe it's a coincidence, but we actually played some of our better ball when he was in the game there at the end of the half.
What do you think of your three-point shooting, and do you see it getting a lot better?
It's got to get better. Yeah, it's got to get better. What were we, 5 of 21? And I mean, that's a, what is that, 23% or whatever? I think we're better shooters than what we are. Now, granted, if Darren's playing, it's a different deal because hopefully he's the one shooting, a third of those threes himself. But we're we're not obviously going to have him at least for the immediate future. I just don't know how long that'll be. So.
Will you know his status for Duke?
No. We got some things to discuss, and we're looking at. He's getting the best. He'll admit to he's getting the best treatment. I mean, all that stuff. But he's got tightness in his right hamstring, and he wants to be out there so bad. But I'm not going to put him out there till he feels well, and you can say or think, well, we're trying to win the battle. Well, yeah, we are, but the battle's not near as important as the long term, so to speak. And we got to get him where he's not hesitant to play. We have seen him play, and he's pretty good, and we still haven't seen him whole yet. Think about that. We need to get him where he can explode without the thought in his mind that something negative could happen, and it probably won't. But I don't want to put him in a situation where he's got to think about that.
Was that a set play for Tiller on the three?
No.
Didn't that come right out of the timeline?
Yeah, we were going to play high-low, but he wanted to shoot it. So, yeah, I'm glad he made it, though. That's good.
Bill, Trey talked about it. What's the, kind of balance between Flory playing with aggressiveness, like flipping that switch, versus also playing in control when he's out there on offense? Like, how do you kind of find that, middle ground there?
Well, Flory is a really good player, but he's not a one-on-one offensive player. He's a guy that plays to angles and play to his athletic ability. Or if he's got a slower guy on him, face him and drive him. I mean, he can do some things to take advantage of people. The thing that Flory, I think, has to do against a good defender that's close to as athletic as him, he's got to pick his spots when he can go try to score and when it's not there, when he can be a passer. And a lot of times, he's trying to score in those situations, and then they become ridiculously hard shots, scoring over length when you're, he gathers, and now he's lost his explosion because he's set, and then try to score from that. I'd rather him catch him 1-2 and get right into what he's going to do. So I think when he drove it hard and spun and all those were reactionary things. A lot of times the other ones are a checklist, a process, and I think he can get more reactive, and he'll be better with that.
I think after Carolina, you talked about different ways to get Darren help from his teammates, them helping, and then that helps everybody. When you don't have him, when you're watching him, this team without him, do you learn anything about how you might want to use him when he is back, or how? I mean, do you see what I'm saying there?
Well, he can't shoot up every ball, but I think the one thing that we can certainly is be a better screening team for him, and we're a bad screening team, and that's some things that we've emphasized a lot. He'll make the right read and the right play, but we got to be good enough to put him in a position where when they're keying on him that we can play behind that, and he'll get good at doing that. But we gotta we got to work for him because they're going to face guard him like Carolina did or attempted to do, and they did a really good job with it. But you think about that Carolina game, he takes 14 shots and gets 22, and we didn't help him. So I think there's a lot of things that we can do to help him, but it starts with screening.
And when he's out, he's got the ball in his hands when he's in the game, right? So who do you? Melvin has it a lot. Who do you look to initiate?
There's nobody really else but Melvin.
Right.
Melvin.
Do you want others to? I mean.
Yeah, I'm all for it, but Melvin is the one guy that Melvin can put pressure on somebody and get us into, make a guard forward pass, get us into offense and those things. I actually think Trey could be pretty good at bringing it up as long as it's not real hot pressure. Yep, I do.
Just to circle back to Bryson, why did you want to go with Bryson today over maybe El Marco or anyone else?
Well, because we haven't had Bryson's played better. So we haven't really had anybody stand out in that situation. To me, Bryson's played better. He's still got to rebound. He's still got to play big. But those situations, I don't think that was a hard decision at all. Plus, we don't rebound the ball like we should. So maybe try playing our biggest guys to see if we become a better rebounding team.
What would you like Melvin's offensive game to look like when he's trying to score himself? Like, what would you want it to consist of?
Well, I want him to drive it. I want him to finish with his left hand, and I want him to shoot open threes. And he hadn't made any. He's a much better shooter than what he shot it. But we're not going to be a good offensive team unless we have more players trying and being aggressive to score. So he's got to do that because he's going to play. Melvin is one of our better players, so he's going to have to get where people have to guard him and not go under every ball screen and that kind of stuff, like they did Juan a lot, But if Melvin, he's just so fast. If he could just get where people have to chase him a little bit, that'll set up his quickness a lot better.
What do you think of the environment in New York compared to the other Champions Classic places?
Oh, Madison Square Garden, it's the best. To me, the two places to play, this is, I hate to say it, but it's Chicago and New York. Those to me are the best. I think Indy's really good, but there's something about Chicago, and maybe it's because it's the second largest alumni base we have behind Kansas City, but there's something about Chicago and playing in the United Center.
And the matchup against Duke, have you had a lot of great memories of the competitive games?
Great memories. Last year was actually a good memory. Last year we played well. That was a heck of a win, especially with Hunter not finishing the game and Flory kind of having a coming out party. That was good. And KJ, the way he played against Cooper, and Juan was the best guard in the game. There were a lot of good things that happened last year in that particular game. So that was a good memory. We've also had some crap memories with them too. But the best memory, obviously, was in 18. That was the biggest game I think that we played Duke since I've been here.
That's Bill Self on Saturday after KU's win over Princeton. Status up in the air for Darren Peterson. Have to wait and see tomorrow night. After this, a word on KU football and the Kansas City Chiefs, who fell to 5-5. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Big shout out, as always, to Elijah Schmidt running the operations today here in the Kansas Nation studios. State-of-the-art new space here on Mass Street. We are so thrilled to be here, and yeah, come say hey.
Also, big shout out to Miles Schneer and Crown Automotive and Mitch Bales and Game Day Men's Health.
Game Day Men's Health, Lawrence. Yeah, check them out. A sponsor of ours that we are very, very grateful for that partnership. So Game Day Men's Health, Lawrence, and Crown Automotive, of course, like you said, over in your neck of the woods on South Iowa.
That's right. Yeah,
and,
they sell Toyotas and Volkswagens. Can't go wrong.
KansasNation.com. Keep up to date on all things going on KU, and of course all of our socials at the Kansas Nation. Give us a subscription while you're at it at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Find us anywhere. We really appreciate that. KU football back at it, 11 a.m. kick. Like we talked about it briefly with Nick Springer, but KU's got to go up and get this one. People aren't going to think that they're going to beat Utah because Utah's a top 15 team. That doesn't mean that they can't. And honestly, KU is due for some good things to happen to them in close games in particular. But if they can get their 4th straight win over Iowa State, you'd be feeling so good clinching eligibility before that finale.
Yeah, I find the word due a little because Kansas football has been due for a long time. And yeah, I guess they made 2 bowl games, right? But Kansas football has been due for a long time in this season, and it feels like they keep on shooting themselves in the foot. But you feel confident, right? Iowa State, they've been crumbling. They've had a lot of injuries, a brand new wide receiver core, even though some of them are really good. They still have Rocco Beck, still have Matt Campbell. I mean, they have the pieces, right? And Kansas has had their number as of late, which makes you feel good. But on the flip side of that, I mean, I can look at this 2 ways of like, well, Iowa State knows that too. They know it better than anybody, so they're going to have a chip on their shoulder coming into this game. Kansas needs to win this game. This is their best hope to get a bowl game, right? This is their best hope to go 6-6. I do not feel confident about the Utah game because Devin Dampier is looking so good. They're ranked right now. Utah is such a fun team to watch, and in a game where the crowd is probably going to be sparse because it's going to be the day after Thanksgiving. It's going to be 11 a.m. kickoff. It's going to be probably really cold. All the students are going to be gone. And granted, Utah, they're probably going to be having their eyes set maybe on a playoff bid, right? I mean, it's still not out of the realm of possibility. I understand that Utah, they still have like a 38% chance of making the playoffs. So they're not going to be phoning it in either. This isn't like week 18 when the Chiefs have already clinched the 1 seed. This is the real deal for Utah. They're going to be playing just as hard as they are any game.
Let's beat Iowa State, but let's make sure it's not a sparse crowd Black Friday. KUathletics.com/tickets, 11 a.m. Football, family, Thanksgiving, it's the best. Get out here to Lawrence. Panic button on the Chiefs real quick. We talked about it with Springer earlier, but just curious, your thoughts. They're 5-5. I still think there's a good chance they can get to 11 wins. Where are you right now panicking?
Mahomes looks bad, and the play calling is really bad. Panic button.
I disagree with Mahomes looking bad.
Well, he doesn't look great.
Okay.
Right?
He doesn't look great.
He doesn't look like Mahomes, right? I think he just looks different. I guess Mahomes bad is like every other quarterback's really good. You know what I mean? He just doesn't look like the MVP caliber player that we have known to grow and love over the past 8 years that he's been around. So the inconsistencies there with the wide receiver core, the play calling is not great. Panic button right now. I still think the Chiefs make a wild card. A lot of different things have to happen, but the Chargers, if we know anything about the Chargers in the past, they do a very good job of missing the playoffs with very good teams.
Yeah. And the Jags, you can't really trust them either. So we have to wait and see. But yeah, got to start winning. We said it against the Broncos. You got to beat the Colts. Now coming up, tough one, noon Sunday at Arrowhead. That's going to do it for Rock Chalk Sports. For Elijah Schmidt and Dan Courtwright, Sean Kellerman saying we'll catch you tomorrow, previewing the Champions Classic, KU and Duke on Rock Chalk Sports from 4 to 6. Thanks for listening on ESPN Kansas City and watching KansasNation.com.